सान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावदिभ्या निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनः उरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावत् भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानाम् अग्रे पश्यामि तेजो निबिडतरकला यावली लोभनीयं पीयूषाप्लावितोऽहं तदुतरे दिव्यकैशोरवेशं तारुण्यारम्भरम्यं परमसुखरसास्वाद रोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत् सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च
Gurupavanapure Hantabhagyam Jananam. Namaskaram to all the Astikas. Bhagavatam Saram, the very essence of this great Purana called Bhagavatam, is what we have all received from the hands of Bhattatri as Sriman Narayaneeyam. In Sriman Narayaneeyam, Bhattatri took all the efforts to summarize the essence both of the avatara and the teachings of Bhagavan through various dashakams. We largely covered Matsya Avataram, Kurma Avataram, Varaha Avataram, Nrsimha Avataram, Vamana Avataram. We also covered the charitrams of great bhaktas like Dhruva, Pruthu, and so on. We also covered the charitram as mentioned of great Aveshya Avatarams like Kapila Vasudeva Avataram, thereby Kapilopadesham. Then we had Rishabhanath Avataram. We also discussed events related to Dakshayajnam, Chitraketu Charitram, so on and so forth. Now we are coming very close to Krishna Avataram, the Dashakam that Bhattatri takes up before describing or even making a grand entry to Krishna Avataram is Parashurama Avataram. Though he largely adheres to the teachings of Shuka Brahmam in Srimad Bhagavatam, it seems he has also borrowed aspects of Parashurama as mentioned in the other Puranas and has put forth them together in this particular Dashakam. Atre putrataya puratvamanasuyayam hi dattabidho jata shishya nibandha tandritamanaha swasthyascharana kantaya दृष्टो भक्ततमेन हेहय महीपालेन तस्मै वरान् अष्टैश्वर्यमुखान् प्रदाय ददिथ स्वेनैव चान्ते वधम् पुरा जातः पुत्रतया अत्रेः पुरा long back जातः पुत्रतयाः अत्रेः to the great Maharshi called Atri was born, he says, जातः पुत्रतया, Bhagavan, you were born as what? To Atri. What was he born as? He says, Anasuyayam dattavidaha. He, Anasuyam. So through his wife, that is to Atri, through his wife Anasuya, dattavidaha. You were born in that avatara where you were called Datta. So he says, dattavidaha. He, charana swasthaha kantaya. So as you were born as Datta, you grew up and along with your Dharmapatni, Charan Swastha Kantaya, Kanta, beloved, you started roaming around. Where? He says, Shishya Nibandha Tandrita Manaha. Thereby, you were a lot asked questions by your own Shishyas. So he says, Shishya Nibandha Tandrita Manaha. Lot of questions, lot of queries from the Sishyas. Thereby, he met up with one Sishya. So Datta with his wife, when they were doing sancharam in the forest, they met up with one person who eventually became the Sishya to Datta. Who is he? Drishtaha Hehaya Mahipalena. Hehaya. So they were called Haihayas. They were the group of kings who were ruling current day Madhya Pradesh around Maheshwar. We call it Maheshwar, right? Very famous for that silk. So that is the place where the Haihaya Rajas ruled, and that was by the banks of river Narmada. So he says Drishtaha Hehaya Mahipalena. And this person who was ruling that particular region, the king of Hehayas, he became a Sishya, so much so, Bhakta Tamena, not any other Sishya. He was the chief amongst all Sishyas. Bhakta Tamena, Pradaya Tasmai Varana. And you conferred boons on him. So a lot of boons were conferred on the Hehaya Raja Kartavirya Arjuna by Sakshat Bhagavan, by Datta. So he says, Pradaya Tasmai Varane. What were such boons? He says, Ashtaishwarya Mukhan Tvam Taditha. Taditha. Thereby you gave many boons. Amongst them the foremost was Ashtaishwarya Mukhan. Ashtama Siddhi we call it. So the 8 kind of Siddhis that great Siddha Purushas, Yoga Purushas have. This is what you bestowed on this Haihaya Raja called Kartavirya Arjuna. Ante Vadhamcha Svena Yeva. You also said, Ante Vadhe, towards the end of your Janma, I will be the one who will take the Jivatma out of your body, thereby bringing death from my hands, is what Bhagavan said. So this is the first shloka. Then Bhattatri continues, Satyam kartumatharjunasya chavaram tatshakti matranatam brahmadveshitadakhilam nripakulam hantum cha bhumer bharam sanjato jamadagnito bhrugukule tvam renukayam hare ramo nama tadatmajeshvavarajah pitroradha sampadam. He Hare Atha Satyam Kartu. Oh, the one who is able to remove all our sins. So he says Hare Atha Satyam Kartu. In order to fulfill what? Varam Arjunasya cha hantum cha. In order to fulfill the vara, the boon granted to Kartavirya Arjuna, and thereby to destroy Akhilam Nripakulam, just using him as a vyajam, as a cause, and thereby bringing an annihilation, death, to various Kshatriya kings who were not doing justice to their subjects, who were not walking the path of dharma. To such people, so it was a twofold objective. One, to bring death to Kartavirya Arjuna, and also to bring an end to kings who were not following or walking the path of dharma. Brahma dveshi bhumehe bharam. So you had become extremely, and those kings who had become very impious, bhumehe bharam, who had become a burden to Mother Earth, such kind of kings. So it was not the normal good king, but those people who did not walk the path of dharma, to bring an end to them. Tada tat shakti matra anatam. Thereby you wanted to ensure that those kings who were adharmic, but for time period they were kept in control by Kartavirya Arjuna using his might. Kartavirya Arjuna knew that such Kshatriya kings who did not walk on the path of dharma, they were not doing any good, but he had kept them under control. So their adharmic side was always glowing, but it was not coming to light. So Bhagavan thought, if Kartavirya Arjuna is gone, then such people will rise. So when I bring an end to Kartavirya Arjuna, I should also bring an end to such adharmic kings. So tada tat shakti matra anatam. Thereby, to fulfill all these purposes, tvam sanjataha bhrugukule. You were born in the lineage of this great rishi called as Bhrugu. Tvam sanjataha bhrugukule jamadagnitaha renukayam. So in the lineage of Bhrugu came a Maharshi called Jamadagni, who was married to Renuka, the daughter of a Raja called Renu. So Brahmana marrying a Kshatriya. So Jamadagni marrying Renuka. To that couple you were born. Avarajaha tadatmajeshu. So they had many sons. You were the youngest of them all. Avarajaha tadatmajeshu Nama Ramaha. You were born with the name Rama. So even before Ramachandra was born to Dasharatha, it is this Rama who is known as the first Rama. So I often say J Rama, Jamadagni's son Rama. So Nama Ramaha Adhaha Sammadam Pitroho. thereby you did give joy to your parents because Ramayati iti Ramaha. Thereby he continues, Labdhamnaya Ganashchaturdashavayaha Gandharvaraje Manak Asaktam kila mataram pratipituhu Krodhakulasyagnaya Tatagnyatiga sodarai samamimam chitvata shantat pituhu Tesham jivana yogama ithavaram Mata cha tetadvaran. So tetadvaran, he continues, Agnyaya pituhu krodha kulasya, by the order of your father. So Rama is born, Bhagavan is born by the order of his father, who is Jamadagni, who was a lot enraged. Why did the father Jamadagni look enraged? Mataram prati kila manak, because his dharmapatni, that is Jamadagni's dharmapatni called Renuka, or our Rama's mother called as Renuka, prati kila manak, she had focused her mind elsewhere, where Asaktam Gandharva Raje. One day it is believed that she saw the reflection of a Raja, a Gandharva Raja in the waters. So the husband thought that she has completely focused her attention on Gandharva Raja. So, Tvam Chaturdasha Vayaha, you were just 14 years old. Hey Bhagavan, you were born to that couple and you were called Rama and you were barely 14 years old. That time, Labdha Amnaya Ganaha, you had mastered all the Vedas. So by 14 you had mastered all the Vedas. But you were commanded by your father that Chitva Imam, you will have to behead her, take her head off, because she had focused her attention on the Gandharva Raja. You did so because your father had commanded, you did execute that order. Chitva Imam Samam Tata Agnyatiga Sodaraihi, along with your other brothers who had flouted the father's orders. So the father had asked the other brothers to do this act, but they refused. Whereas you had executed that order, apitha varam pituhu shantat. Thereby you went to your father and said, I have executed your order. That is when your father was extremely impressed with this act of yours, because you had executed whatever the father had said. You were obedient to him. Thereby he agreed to give you boons. That is when you said, you will have to restore the life of my dear mother. So, apitha varam pituhu shantat. Shantat, when he calmed down, atha tesham jivana yogam, thereby by obtaining the boon from your father, that you will have the ability to restore life to your mother, you went, matacha adat varanate, thereby she too gave boons to you, because she was impressed that you had executed your father's orders, at the same time brought her back to life. So matacha adat varanate, so she agreed to give boons on you. Please remember, this form of Renuka Devi, where we see her as Parashurama's mother, is what we all worship in many village as the village deity. Muthuswami Dikshitar, a great composer, says, Venuvadyadinut Vijayanagara Sthite Manika Bhushani Madhura Rasabhashini Vana Sadrisakshini Parashurama Janani Konatrayavasini Guru Guha Vishwasini Kannada Bhangale Gandharva Banjani Renuka Devi Samrakshitoham Anisham. So this Dharmapatni of Jamadagni called Renuka, Parashurama's mother, beheaded by her very son, restored to life by her very son, bestowed boons on her son, and is worshipped in various villages as the village deity, as the Grama Devata. So what happened after that? More in the next episode.
Life is a learning. Every day is a learning. So why stop? We are very happy to present Ramayana Pariksha RAP 2025. This is being organized by our trust Deshika Daya. It is an online examination. All that you have to do is to read the book Ramayanam Volume 1 that I have authored, and 2, register for the exam. It is happening on the 22nd of June 2025. Exciting prizes, and the biggest prize is reading the Ramayana and answering the questions. Age no bar, geography no bar. So why stop? Register soon. Namaskar.
कल्याणरूपाय कलौ जनानां कल्याणदात्रे करुणासुधाब्दे कंवादिदिव्यायुधसत्कराय वातालयाधीश नमो नमस्ते। नारायण 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 नारायण